Hi, my name's Coop and I'd like to talk to you today about the head rental system and a couple of tips that you can use to get your consumer comfortable and out the door as quickly as possible so they can begin enjoying their day. So the best way to start your boot fit is to establish a level of trust with the consumer by introducing yourself. Hi, I'm Coop.
Julia.
Nice to meet you, Julia. I'll be fitting your boots today.
Great.
The other thing that you like to do with a consumer is run through a couple of checkpoints. And one of the most important is that they're wearing a good ski sock. One layer of ski sock is really the best situation to get the consumer in, to get them into a position in their boot where they're going to stay dry and warm all day. As we can see, Julia has a nice ski sock on, a little bit of padding in it. We're going to go ahead and start by measuring your foot. We'll start with your right foot, Julia. Go ahead and just set it down there. I'd like you to stay seated to begin, and you want to go ahead and look at the length of the foot while the person is seated. And then go ahead and stand up for me, Julia. Then go ahead and look at the foot in the weighted position. You'll see that foot grow based upon the flexibility of the consumer's foot. Let's have you sit back down. If you do have the time, go ahead and measure both feet. Usually most people will have a discrepancy between the two sizes, so once again we'll measure sitting down and go ahead and stand up. And then we'll take a look at the foot while it is in a weighted position. Okay, you can go ahead and sit back down. Once we've established the size, you really want to use that true size off of your measuring device. Don't size up, don't size down. You want everything to be very transparent to the consumer. So then we're going to go ahead and pick our boot based upon the size that we found there. Julia runs it between a 24 and a 24.5. So we're going to grab that 24.5 for her. We're going to slip you into the boot next, but before we do that, we want to foreshadow with the customer what they're going to feel. You have to remember, a lot of these customers have not been in ski boots all year, if at all. Some of them are beginners, some of them ski only a couple of times a year. So you want to refresh their memory as to what they're going to feel in a ski boot. So before we put this on your foot, Julia, you can expect to feel a firm handshake all around your foot, your heel, your ankle, through the instep with a little bit of wiggle room in the toes. But when we put you in the boot first, I do expect you to feel your toe up against the toe of the boot. That's actually a good sign. Once we have you in the boot, we'll get you buckled up. Then I'm going to have you stand up, flex the knee forward. You'll feel those toes move back away from there. And then you can tell me how the boot feels to you.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and actually get you into the boot and have you feel it. So we'll go ahead and we'll slip her right foot down into the boot. She can go ahead and stand up. We want to make sure all the buckles are unbuckled. I always like to start the buckling process from the top and work my way down. And what that does is allows us to begin that process of pulling the heel back in the boot and the toe away from the front. Sometimes you have to go back up to those top two buckles and rebuckle them to get a little bit more tension. We'll go ahead and do that power strap up. And then let's have you flex that knee forward for me, Julia. You should feel your toe move away from the front of the boot. And we should feel like we have a nice solid lock on your heel.
Exactly.
Okay. Go ahead and stand straight back up. Really, when you're explaining the boot to the consumer, a lot of times the biggest scenario you're going to run into with a rental consumer is that the boot's too tight. If you're steering a car and you have to move the steering wheel halfway before anything in the car happens, that's not going to be a very comfortable car to drive in. You want a more immediate reaction. And if we fit a boot too loose, that's exactly what it's going to feel like steering a ski. You're going to move the foot and it's going to take a long time before the ski reacts. So we really want a nice snug fit in the boot so that when your foot moves, the ski moves, everything moves together, and you're going to have a better day on that.
Great.
Okay. When sizing the individual for the ski length, good rule of thumb for a beginner is to use something that's shorter than chin height, more in the mid-chest level. That'll give them an easier initiation of the turn, make the ski easier to control. For an intermediate, you can certainly get a little bit longer, ranging from chin up until the nose area, and that'll give you a good indicator of what an intermediate should use. For an expert level skier, you can certainly go a little bit longer. A lot of experts will tell you what they desire as far as length goes, but a good rule of thumb, once again, eye level or a little bit above that.